What's going on, guys? So today we are going to take a look at different 808 distortion plugins and how you can get the best distortion on your 808s every single time you're making a beat. Alright, so let's jump right into this. Alright guys, so basically we're going to listen to the 808 how it is before the distortion, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into some of the different plugins that we can use to get an awesome effect from it. So we just have a basic little pattern going here. Alright, so obviously you're going to want to make sure that you have a good 808 off the bat, off the rip, right? So that you're only adding a little bit of distortion and harmonics on top of it. You're not gonna make a shitty 808 sound good by adding distortion, so make sure you have a good 808 first. Alright, so the first plugin that we're gonna take a look at, it's called Camel Crusher, and you can find it on their website here, audio plugins for free / Camel Crusher. Go ahead and download it and unzip it and go ahead and get that ready and into your DAW. Okay, so once you got Camel Crusher going, go ahead and put it on the 808 and we can start taking a look at this bad boy. Okay, so basically when I'm using the Camel Crusher, I always turn the fat mode off first. And always turn the volume up full way so we're getting the full volume of this thing. Now you can play around with the distortion first and kind of get the distortion that you like to hear on it. So you basically have the tube and the mech. The mech is just going to destroy it and the tube's going to give it more of that tubey feel. So let's play around with both of them. Alright, so that's starting to sound good to me. We'll play with the compression a little bit now. Alright, awesome guys. So now what you can do is you can either turn the mix down to mix it in manually, or you can do something that's even better. So what you do is you group it, you press Command G, and you put it in a group basically. Press this little button right here to open up your chains. And we're also gonna right click and press create train, alright? The new one that we just did is gonna be the dry one. And the one on top of it, we're gonna rename that to wet. And that's the one that has the Camel Crusher on it. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix it in with the volume adjustments. But first we're gonna get an EQ in here. I'm gonna go ahead and solo the one that's got the Camel Crusher on it now, and we're just gonna go through the EQ here and we're gonna take out the lows and then the super highs from it. Alright, let's take out the highs now. Alright guys, and once you think it's starting to sound good, you can go ahead and unsolo it and start listening to them together. And what I like to do is I like to turn the wet one down all the way, and then we start increasing it a little bit until we get to a result that we like. So that sounds good to me. We don't want it to be overtaking it too much. We just want to add a little bit of grit and distortion, which is going to let it bleed through the mix even more. Alright guys, the second one we're going to take a look at is called Fuzz Plus 3 by Audio Damage. For some reason it looks like they discontinued it on their website, but you can find it at a couple different websites. This one's legit, so you can go ahead and grab it down here by clicking on this download, and it's another free one that we're going to test out here. So once you got Fuzz Plus loaded up, you can put it on your 808 and we can start messing around with this bad boy. Alright guys, so this one's really nice because we can mess with the frequency knob right here and we can pick how much of the frequencies do we actually want to distort. So basically when we're doing the 808, we don't want it to distort all the way up until the super highs like this. So we're going to drag this down until we find a good area. So I always find that right between like 10 or 15 is like the highest you should go. So we're going to do like 12 right now. This is starting to sound good. And the resonance is basically going to give it that little peak right there, so where you want that to clip. And I usually find that around 2 or 3 sounds pretty good. Alright, awesome. So now we can turn down the distortion and we can start dialing it in. do the same thing that we did with the other one. We're gonna go ahead and group this here. We're gonna go ahead and create a new chain. And for our wet one, we're just gonna go ahead and put another EQ on it. We're basically gonna do the same exact thing here. Solo this. We're gonna cut out all these lows. All right, now we're gonna cut out some of the highs here. So again, we're going to dial this all the way down and we're going to start bringing it back in slowly. Alright guys, we're going to take a look at one more distortion plugin. This one is not free. Alright, this one's called Decapitator by Sound Toys. You can find it here. It's $199. This one is very much a commitment, but this is the saturation plugin that most of like the professional mixing engineers like to use on the 808's and bass instruments. So you can really dial it in and get the best tone with this one. So if you can afford to make the jump, definitely do it. And I'll show you the settings that I like to use on here. So basically you have like 5 different types of distortion here, distortion sounds that you can use. And you got like this punish knob, which is really nice. It lets you kind of like double down on the drive that you're putting into it. So let's start playing around with this and see what's sounding good. For this 808, I usually like to use the one that's N. It sounds the best to me, and then A usually always sounds really good as well. So for this one, you have a low and a high cut knob, which I like to use here. So what we can do is actually we can cut out some of the lows and some of the highs right here, and we don't even have to use the EQ. So for the lows, we usually cut out quite a bit here. And we'll go for the highs now. You can play with the darker brightness tab here to get more or less of the grittiness. And again, like we do with the other ones, we are going to group this. But since we had the high and low cuts, we don't even need to put the EQ on this one. Makes it really easy. Dial it back and then bring it in. With my preference, man, this one just gives you the most luscious sound for what you're getting, but again, you're paying a big hefty price tag for it. So you got those other 2 options which are completely for free, so go ahead and grab them and play around with them on your 808. They sound great as well. Alright guys, so this concludes the 808 distortion tutorial. Hope you found some new distortions that you can go ahead and cop. 2 of them are for free and you can go ahead and start playing with them in your mix and seeing which one you like better. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss when I'm uploading another episode. We're uploading new ones every single week, so you can look forward to those. But anyways guys, I'll see you again in the next one. Peace out.